It's that time of the week again. It's time for Midweek News on the Practical IT channel. This is episode 116 for February the 26th, 2025. Let's get started. Exporting VirtualBox VMs. This article covers both the GUI and command line methods for exporting a VM to an OVA image. It is worth noting that this makes it easy for importing the VM into another machine with VirtualBox or into another virtualization product like Proxmox VE or whatever your preference might be. ArcaOS 5.1.1, a descendant of OS2 Warp, has been released. This is an update which continues the platform that started life as OS2 Warp to be able to work on modern computers. Support for GPT-style drives, UEFI, and more are continuing to evolve. Interesting to see that this system is still alive and kicking in 2025. Cosmic Desktop Alpha 6 is now available. Among the changes in this release are desktop zoom, many app changes, copy and paste using middle mouse button has been enabled, font changes across the system, and reduced memory usage. Unfortunately, the system settings still do not seem to have an option to add a printer. PeaZip 10.3 is now available. Includes a new Tux Alt theme, better integration with GNOME and KDE Plasma, and bug fixes and other minor enhancements are also included in this release. If you're a PeaZip user, bump up to the latest release. The Linux kernel is finally getting a standardized way of reporting to user space about hung GPUs. This is coming in the 6.15 kernel. Initially, the feature will be for AMD and Intel's GPUs. Lots of rather geeky details in the article that I don't fully grok. From what I can gather, this will be useful for gamers and perhaps for the Steam Deck as well. KDE Plasma 6.3.1 has been released. Big improvements to the Plasma Discover package manager, as well as many bug fixes and behind-the-scenes changes. Handbrake 1.9.1 has been released with a native Debian package for Ubuntu users. This is primarily a bug fix release. There are also some Windows-specific fixes and enhancements. Ubuntu may get more frequent Intel GPU updates. Right now, this is all just a proposal, but a rather interesting one. This would come in the form of future hardware enablement updates. FilePilot Beta, a better Windows file manager. FilePilot is only in beta, but already puts to shame the file manager that most Windows users have to look at on a daily basis. With a focus on performance and customizability, it is sure to be a welcome change for Windows power users. How to format USB drives on Linux, macOS, and Windows. ZDNet is at it again with another article aimed at beginners. This time they are talking about how to format USB drives on different operating systems. Worth a look if you would rather consult a guide than just go in trying to figure out something on your own. Finding system information on Ubuntu for beginners. Whenever you use a new system, being able to find system information is always a useful piece of knowledge. This article walks you through finding that information on Ubuntu Linux. It does focus on command line utilities for collecting different information, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because those utilities will be consistent across different Linux distributions. ScanTailor Advanced. This is an application I'm itching to try out with my book scanner. It basically allows you to correct scans that are skewed in some way. This would be a great addition to the software that the manufacturer ships for its scanners that are supported on Linux. Ubuntu 25.04 projected release date and features. What can you expect? Dual boot improvements, GNOME 48, kernel 6.14, a new feature for managing screen time. And this is all expected to be released on April 17th. Things are going to get interesting this year. Speaking of interesting, here's Rhino Linux 2025.2. This release focuses on bug fixes, improved stability, and a smoother desktop experience for all users. If you've been curious about Rhino Linux, it's time to take a look at the latest version. Localsend now has an updated Flatpak image. For those who aren't aware, Localsend is like a cross-platform airdrop for your local network. I've used this fairly regularly and I've been pretty impressed with it. The only downside I can see is it only works on a local network, or if you have something like Tailscale installed to allow it to work across the internet. After a 1-week delay, Ubuntu 24.04.2 is now available. This comes with the 6.11 kernel from the 24.10 release and the typical patch rollup that comes with a 6-month Ubuntu release. No need to reinstall. You can just continue updating your machine and you will effectively be moved to this version. Here's one for the RGB junkies. The new OpenRaiser brings support for controlling the latest batch of Razer devices on Linux. If you're a Linux user and a fan of Razer devices, you won't want to miss this one. New features for new devices and bug fixes for existing devices. It's a win-win situation. Ventoy has been updated to version 1.1.0.5. This release specifically addresses a boot issue with some Windows PE-based ISO images when booted in UEFI mode. As you can see from the news page here, there have been several releases in the past few days, and hopefully this will stabilize and slow down just a little bit. But patching these issues is not a bad thing either. And we've got Libredrop. Libredrop can be seen as a true cross-platform airdrop replacement, where Localsend only works with devices on your local network. Libredrop has the ability to send files over the internet. Your mileage may vary, but in some instances, this might be useful. Again, this is cross-platform, available on Linux, macOS, Windows, iOS, and Android. Take a look. All right, I don't often plug products, especially products I don't own, but yesterday was a big announcement from the Framework team. And one of the new announcements is they're moving into desktop computers. They also announced a new Framework 13 with Ryzen AI, which is available for pre-order along with the desktop machine. And they have a 12-inch with a touchscreen coming in Q3 of this year. If you've been on the fence about Framework, now's the time to take another look. They're making some pretty compelling products, and you get the benefit of being able to upgrade. So take a look. I'd be interested in what some of you think about these in the comments. And maybe later this year, I will be in a position to get myself a new Framework 13. I've been wanting one of these for a while, and we'll see if we can make it happen. And on that note, this is going to wrap up episode 116 of Midweek News. Thank you all for being here. Please leave a like and a comment, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.